Ladies and gentlemen, the Open Tabs Podcast, Joe Carlos Calvin Smith. I want y'all to pay close attention to my brother, Joe Carlos. Man, when I saw this brother, I let out a gleeful, a yelp. Brother, happy Black History Month.
Hey, brother. Happy Black History Month to you.
We black, y'all.
We black. we are.
We black, y'all.
Most definitely.
We're gonna start this month off with a bang. Well, we already started it off, you know what I mean? But
yeah, we had a little football talk.
Yeah, a little football talk. You know, we got
Did
that
you see,
out.
I got a question for you. Did you see the supposed flagrant? Did you see the flagrant one on Giannis by Montreal or whatever his name is, Harrell? Did you see that?
No,
if you didn't, don't worry about it. I was just going to ask if you thought it was a flagrant.
Did it occur tonight?
No, it was 2 nights ago.
Okay.
It actually was the night. It was the night we
recorded. Yeah, we recorded. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I tell you what I did see was them Hawks. They beat the Suns tonight.
Oh, Chris Paul was here yesterday. Was that actually at CAU?
Yeah. I love that brother, man. I mean, I've even forgiven him for being a nut puncher. You know what I mean? Like
he does put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I cannot. There is no other way to put that other than he puts his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Hawks, they came out with a brand new Morehouse line.
Oh, did they?
Sweatshirts, sweatpants, and bucket hats today.
The Hawks did?
I promise you. Yes.
Shoot me a link. I'm on that.
I will. I bought the I've copped the sweatshirt. It is mine.
what did my boys 112 say? You already know.
There you go. This is your day. I'm more of a this is your day.
This is it.
If you want the sun, I'll shine it. I'll shine it your way.
A lot of that coming. Hey, Joe. Okay. Well, I know Valentine's Day is like next, week, but whatever.
It's a week from Monday.
It reminds me, man. Me and my homeboy Rashard Sanders. This is the second shout out of the week. Rashard Sanders. We both liked the same girl one year. And she ruthlessly and he's
I'm sure that was fun.
Huh?
I'm sure that was fun.
Oh no, yeah, it was the greatest time of my life. And but
yeah, I'm sure.
He's like, all right, I got this. So he bought her some stuff and like came and Rashard is a singing dude. Like he was in the men's ensemble in 6th grade, and he's
okay. Men's ensemble. I'm with it. I'm with it.
So he came up to a locker singing, man, and she I thought the way she dissed me was cold, man. She dissed him to hell, man.
Oh man.
She's doing well.
What was he singing?
Probably some manner of shy song. I don't even remember, man. The memories are too painful.
I'm sorry, Rashad. I'm sorry about that, brother.
Sorry to that man. All right. Brother, look, this is Black History Month, and all week, or all month rather, we are going hard to paint Black history movies, black movies, all genres. We hitting them up.
True.
And I couldn't think. We are starting with, hey man, this is a stone groove right here, brother. 1971, the greatest photographer, second greatest photographer.
No, the greatest ever lived. No, the greatest ever lived.
The greatest photographer to ever live.
Every tongue shall wag. Everything shall live. He's the greatest has ever lived. I was trying to be Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
Arsenio talking about this man is the greatest.
No, he's legit.
Gordon Parks.
He's
just
great. Gordon Parks. Great Gordon Parks. 1971's Shaft. Shaft. Man,
his second major motion picture.
He did
the Learning Tree.
Okay, Learning Tree. That's right.
But supposedly, this is the first film directed by a Black man from a major studio.
I believe. Production value really high.
It was, but it was made really on a shoe. It was made on a shoestring. Especially
compared to the subsequent films to come. Brother. And so based on John D.F. Black and Ernest Tidyman's novel, it is a film adaptation about a private detective in the streets of Harlem.
Chad Flenderson. No,
Chad.
Chad. What's his name? I can't think. Chaz Filterman flowers. Go ahead. Sorry. Go
Oh.
ahead. He's written a similar Shaft. He wrote it. Toby wrote a similar Shaft type character.
He did. That's right. He sure did. So it's filmed in 1971. Obviously, this predates both of us. So
yes, fortunately, yes.
when did you first become aware of Shaft, and when did you first watch the film?
I don't really, for some reason, I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was a senior in high school, junior and senior in high school. And for some reason, so this is 92, 93. And for some reason, we'd stumbled upon, I think it was, people were sampling music. And the No Name Bar song was sampled over and over again. And so I remember I had to try to check it, like where'd that come from? And I remember it's crazy. I was at my Jack and Jill Botillion practice, and there was a brother, I wish I could remember his name, but he had a little Datsun truck. Okay. He went to Carter and he played football. He later played football for Texas A&M. But he sat in his truck one day. I'm sitting in my Accord, probably playing some PE, and he's in his truck and he's bumping do 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 do, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Anyway,
all right, Bleak Gillen.
What? So I so I asked, I said, what is that? He said, oh, it's the Shaft, bro. Come on, bro, you don't know about that Shaft? I said, man, I didn't know about that Shaft. So I went to the house. I went to Sound Warehouse on a Monday. This was a Saturday. I got my allowance on Monday. I went to Sound Warehouse on a Monday, and I bought the tape. Only to go home later and see the soundtrack. My parents had the.
Of course, Dr. Carlos had it.
Yeah. It was two albums, I think.
Yeah.
And it was a thick one. It was because it was two albums.
Like Songs in the Key.
Songs in the Key left, but Songs in the Key was like 4 albums. If you recall. Yeah. But much like Songs in the Key was thick, it was thick like that. They didn't still have the liner notes though. But they did have. I don't think they did, but they did have. They had the album. I'm like, man, I wouldn't have bought this, but then I had no way to convert it. So anyway, like I gotta watch this. So I'm searching for it, and it's always gone at Blockbuster. Like it's never at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Then one day we had a break for something, like we had a break at school, and it's on TBS. And when TBS would do the
ubiquitous
2-3 in a row, ubiquitous 2-3 in a row, it must have been, maybe it was like a rain delay somewhere or something like that, like a rain delay on TBS, and I caught like the last part of it, and I was like, what is this? And then I said, oh, this is Shaft, because I heard this song. I heard No Name Bar, and I said, oh man, I'm sitting down through this. And I remember then coming back and watching it. So it was probably 92 or 93.
Okay.
When I was aware of it, probably 90. Well, I was aware of it 92. So it was actually my senior year. I wasn't aware of it till then. And then the movies we made, we always used the Shaft. So movies me and my buddy Hampton made, we always used the Shaft soundtrack.
Nice.
So it's some song from the Shaft soundtrack.
Wait, hold on. The movies you and your bro Ham, where are they?
Ham's probably got them. I don't know. I don't have this.
I would pay a king's ransom to see these Joe Carlos originals, man.
Yeah, me too. So me too. Yeah. So that was our soundtrack. I mean, we used a different song, at least one of those songs from that soundtrack. So when were you aware of it, and when did you first see it?
So like you, mine are music memories. When my dad first started on the radio, he would make these little bumpers to go in and out of his show. And of course, he had to have this. And he was so meticulous. All right. So the way, for those uninitiated, the way on the radio, like if you have music going in and out of your segments, what they would do is they would create they would take an 8-track and loop whatever you wanted to on that 8-track. And then like my dad would go into the studio with like a stack of like 12 8-tracks and just have different cues that he would pump, you know what I mean? Like if he wanted a sound effect, whatever the case was, and he put it in and hit the little button and it will play or whatever, right? So, but he had to time it. And so the radio station had like these gold CDs that had nothing but like the biggest hits from every year, like because they shared a station with Peach 94.9. And so
I remember I remember you saying that. Okay.
So he would create these bumpers, and like, you know, the album version of Shaft, which was what they had on the gold disc, is like 9 minutes long or so, or not the album version, but the radio version. It's like 9 minutes long. So like, you know, I remember hearing it and I was like, man, this is familiar. And Dad would be like, yeah, this is Shaft. You gotta, you know, and he like, I got it, we gotta watch it one day. And of course, you know, TBS show up with Braves rain delay, whatever the case is. You know, we watch it, and I, you know, like so many movies I watched with him, I didn't remember details. So, you know, later on, probably right around 94, 95, something like that, when I started hitting Blockbuster heavy. There was a Blockbuster right next to what used to be the Bruno's, is now the Kroger's on Cascade, right there off the exit. So I had a membership there, and you know, I went and picked it up, and I was like, yo, man, this is everything, man. It's got it all. You know what I mean? And it lived up to the hype. But you know, it was the music. It was the music that brought me in. It was the music that, you know, at this point, I really, you know, I knew Gordon Parks by trivia name, you know what I mean? But I didn't know Gordon Parks. I knew Richard Roundtree. I was like, oh, that's Kim Reese dad, you know what I mean? But you know, just like Ron O'Neal was Whitley's dad, you know what I mean? Like,
he was. Yeah, Mercer.
Yeah, man. So I, you know, I was like, oh, okay. So, and then, you know, like the lyrics, I mean, you know, you go around like at a certain point in high school, like it's just cool to quote Shaft lyrics, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's inevitably one of your homeboys gonna nickname themselves Shaft. Nobody's gonna nickname you Shaft. You're gonna take that name on, you know what I mean? Yeah, as I recall, one of our boys from Morehouse, like, remember we were doing nicknames for the Madness? Who was Shaft? Somebody took Shaft. Did I take Shaft?
I'd have to look at the picture. I think it was Cash.
I eventually settled on College Parquet, but I think it's because I relinquished Shaft to somebody.
I think it was Cash. There's no reason why you couldn't both be Shafts. Actually,
well, no. If Cash want to be Shaft, I'm gonna defer to my brother Cash all day. So you know,
I'm thinking back. It was 11th grade because I was Shaft for Halloween.
Were you? Whoa, my man, Joe.
I wore a turtleneck. As I'm thinking about it, right, I wore a turtleneck and one of my dad's big leather coats. So they had some like, we'll say it's fur around it from the 70s,
right?
And I was either a Shaft or a Panther, but I think I was Shaft.
Yeah,
because I had a beret. I had a beret for some reason, but I think either one of them would work. Yeah, either one of them worked. But I can't. But I'm sure that was 11th. I'm almost positive that was 11th grade.
Wow.
So it could have been 12th grade, but I'm thinking it was 11th grade.
Wow.
So I must have been 11th grade. I was aware of Shaft, but at Howard, I know I watched it. You could rent a movie in the library and sit and watch it in like a carol. They had like video carols, and you could sit and watch. I watched Carmen Jones there. I watched all kinds of Black Orpheus, all kinds of Black cinematic classics there. And so but I know I watched it at HU, but they wouldn't let you leave with it. So which was for the best.
Yeah, well, I mean that way people could watch it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Blockbuster, like, you know, somebody had Shaft in their collection. Like they never bringing that back.
Oh yeah. RTO. It's just in the house.
Right, exactly. Hey, shout out to Southside.
Shout out to Southside and shout out to Reese. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, man, little things, man. What little things about this film stand? It's a lot of little things in this movie, man. What stands out to you?
Well, it's New York. It's New York in 1971. This cocksure Black man walking the streets eruditely. I found this site earlier when I was looking for pictures Not a lot of the stills are kind of hard. It's weird. Stills are kind of hard to come by, I guess, in a sense. And but nonetheless, the what's the word I'm trying to look for? The I'm trying to think. Basically, the little things that made it authentically New York.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He's getting hot peanuts. I mean, there's a guy like with like chestnuts or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever it is. And he's a man of the people, man on the street,
Yeah.
right?
The newspaper guy with stutter.
Yeah, with the stutter. Yeah, newspaper guy with the stutter. He's he can he can talk to them. He knows everybody. You know what I'm saying? Whether he's in Manhattan, in Times Square, whether he's uptown, John Shaft knows everyone. I think that's a little thing to me that's great because it makes him a serious Seamus. It makes him a guy that is going to be able to find information for you.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't explain Bumpy's animus with him, other than the fact that that he, I guess you had to have read the book. It's like, why don't y'all like each other? I mean, I understand why Shaft doesn't like Bumpy. I don't understand why Bumpy doesn't like Shaft. Like, I don't understand.
What's your beef, brother?
And he says something like, "You got one foot in Whitey's craw." Like, well, I don't understand. Like, what does that mean? Because his office is in Midtown Manhattan, and and he lives in the Village, as opposed to living, in Harlem. I don't quite understand that, but.
Yeah.
He's walking by the New York Times during a strike. He's in the middle of that, stuff. It's real New York. He's walking those streets.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a little thing that I think is huge.
Yeah.
Cinematography I thought was beautiful. The editing, I know it's not a small thing, but to me, it's a big thing. I mean, it's so good that I think people wouldn't notice it, but you gotta put it in there. Mm-hmm. Now I do have something I don't like, but still, I thought the editing was amazing, and the sound editing.
Yeah.
Not the sound effects, but just like sound. So putting him walking, having him walk the streets to two songs. Okay.
Yes.
Two songs.
Yes.
To Shaft
and
to Soulsville. And look, and everybody talks about, and I'm not going to jump on it because I know we're going to talk music later. But I'm just saying those cues were brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Gordon Parks was brought in this world to do a lot of things. One of those things was hiring the editor he hired, who was a brother who was up for best editor, for editing, best director for the film he worked on was up for best editing. I can't think of his name right now. And the only reason I know that is because I remember I bought this DVD, and there were like two little features on the DVD in like 2001, and one of them was him. And them going over a scene, how they edited it in their special effects. The other thing I think is so cool about this little things, the thing so cool about it is they have these huge sweeping exteriors, and these rinky dink interiors.
Talk about it.
I mean,
like the one behind me.
Yes, but the interiors are so fake.
Yeah.
That they clearly done an MGM lot, but the exteriors are so bold and beautiful. It's New York.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little thing to me that's hilarious. If I had one more little thing, I mean, it's the fashion. I'm dressed today as an homage,
right,
to
Shaft. He was suave, brother, obviously. And he wasn't the only one. Yeah. Bumpy.
I don't know. Bumpy was clean.
Ben, like all of them were.
They all had style. Yeah. Everyone had style in that film. Yeah. Another little thing to me though was the time when you're kind of moving out of the 60s in New York and you're moving into the 70s, and there's some cultural norms that are still. New York is a perfect place for this because it puts racial strife, tension, and all that to the test in an interesting kind of way. And so on one more little thing was the back and forth between the police officers like by themselves and then with Shaft. So Vic and Shaft had a friendship, relationship, whatever. They worked together at some point. They've been in the trenches, and so Vic's always gonna like give Shaft more rope than others. Yeah. But other people are ready to like throw Shaft in jail.
Yeah.
Possibly because he's wrong. and possibly because he's black.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
he's not given the benefit of the doubt. I think by these other people for those reasons. So one
Yeah.
last little thing. Sorry, I got
No,
to
you good.
one last little thing for
I
me
love it.
is thank you is the use of the real character. I mean, we've seen Bumpy fictionalized. It was a real person, and we know
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Bumpy Jones.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
seen, and he's Bumpy Jonas, because I think Bumpy was still alive. No,
Yeah. I
Bumpy
think,
was,
yeah.
no, I think he was alive or dead. But either way, Gordon Parks knew Bumpy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. He knew he knew Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson. Correct.
He knew Ellsworth. Bumpy? Your mama named you Bumpy? And that was by Vanessa Williams from Hoodlum, which is on far too often.
It's
But
a great movie, man.
it is great.
It's a
It
guilty
is great.
pleasure.
It's one of my favorite Loretta Devine roles, by the way.
Yes.
One of my favorite Loretta Devine roles. The way she holds the man, holds him. What's his name? St. Louis. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. Butterfield. I don't know what his name was, but whatever it was, she holds him hostage. But anyway, in a lot of different ways. This movie,
Yeah.
he's kind of chill.
Yeah.
He's kind of chill,
Yeah.
and so
Great understated performance by Moses Gunn.
Yeah, very understated by Moses Gunn. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I pray vous.
So for me, like one of the little things that I appreciated about the movie is just how it laid the groundwork for what was coming in terms of like not just the future of Black film, but the future of our people. And what I mean by that is like Christopher St. John, right, playing Ben. His son Christophe St. John later on.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
You know I mean? Yeah, man.
Isn't that crazy?
You know, I mean, like
I didn't look it up, but I knew once I saw it, I was
like who is he, right? You know what I mean? Like it's amazing. And like, you know, it just laid so much of it provided a foundation for number one, we can do these films and they don't have to be, you know, just full on schlock, right? You know what I mean? We can do these films and they are a draw.
You sound like Magic. We could go to the movies. Sorry, you sounded like Magic for 2 seconds. We could fill our face with popcorn and laugh at the. I'm sorry, for 2 seconds you sound like Magic. But go ahead.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah. Leave the colors at home.
Colors at home. We can fill our face with popcorn.
No Magic Johnson theaters without Shaft, man. For real. Hey, look, you know what I mean? Like it was. I'm trying to. There was some at least one other. My man Antonio Fargas. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, fly guy.
Just that groundwork. And you talked about the relationship between Vic Andrade and John Shaft, right? So in later films, it would become like kind of a trope that friendly cop would then turn on him, right? And so, you know, if you've seen some of these other films before you see Shaft, you kind of expect him to turn on Shaft, you know what I mean? And when it doesn't happen, when they remain, you know what I mean, like relatively cool, you know what I mean? Like that's refreshing. And I wish more films had really kind of stuck with that instead of that easy, you know what I mean, like don't trust Whitey at all type. I mean, you know, you don't trust Whitey, but he's not always just like full on evil, you know what I mean? I appreciated that part of it. I think that having that relationship was really good.
Shaft had a lot of relationships. I think it's go ahead, please go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I'm agreeing with you because that's what it takes to be a private detective. That's what makes it real. You know what I mean? Yeah, a private detective is only as good as their relationships. And having people to trust you and having people that you can go to in a pinch, like, you know, you need that and you got to maintain those relationships and you got to, you know, like I thought that was very well illustrated in this film. I also agree with you about cinematography and particularly the opening scene, like just that initial walk through New York, catching him coming out of the subway tunnel, walking through and like I even appreciate the scenes like right before that, like how they're showing the different movies that are playing, including the X-rated film.
Yeah. Well, that's Times Square, baby.
Yeah, baby. Hey, you know it. And you get Shaft coming out, changes the angle. You know what I mean? Like he's walking across the street. cars honking the horns at them. You know, you get the call back. I can't remember. Did this come before or after Midnight Cowboy?
Just before Midnight Cowboy.
This before? Either way, whether it was an
You didn't see I'm
homage.
walking here. It was a bad loop. I'm telling you, this is after Midnight Cowboy because
Okay. Well, either way,
because Midnight Cowboy is 69, and only reason I'm saying that I was because of Forrest Gump.
right? Okay.
And that was the 60s when Sinise when Lieutenant Dan said that.
Sure. Okay. So, but you know, shooting the bird at the the cab driver, and so that leads into my just shout out to my man Tunde from the grad school of Meharry, who used to blog under the name Brazenly Virile, because Shaft.
Tunde from Morehouse?
No. Tunde went to Eastern Shore, Maryland Eastern Shore.
I thought you were talking about Little Tunde.
No. I'm talking about Big Tunde. Tunde's tall. Tunde's tall.
Yeah, I thought you were about my recruit Tunde.
No. Oh, not. I do know. I remember him, but no.
I'm sure.
This Tunde from Maryland Eastern Shore, from the Delta chapter of the Qs there. But anyway, Tunde went by brazenly virile, and Shaft was the very definition of brazenly virile. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, just, you know, we've never seen it before like this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
To an extent, Sidney Poitier, you know, in the heat.
Well, he's on the shoulders.
Yeah, but like Shaft is, I mean, to your point earlier, man, like, you know, just telling people how it is, man, and how to get there. And no, you know, like, it is what it is with him. And, you know, I mean, the relationships with the women, the soundtrack, the lyrics in the soundtrack really, I mean, it's true to the man. You know, he's a complicated man, no one understands, but his woman, you know, he's you know, got the misogyny going on. Girl telling him, you know, you're great in the sack, but everywhere else, you know, like, it is what it is. And you know, that was the blueprint for a lot of stuff we see now. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
for me, those were just a little bit of it. I think you hit the nail on the head with yours, man. Hey, look, this movie is layered, brother. Like, you go in here like an onion, and you can peel and see some things, man. My man Bumpy. Yeah. Excellent. So
clearly not the same place that he walked through the door. And it's like,
no, not at all.
Yeah.
You do not have to be an architect to recognize this is a different setup altogether.
Yes.
So
completely.
Your unsung heroes, Joe.
Shaft's clothes.
Okay.
Are an unsung hero.
Okay.
Vic.
Okay.
Talk about unsung heroes. His clothing he's the best. He's the best dressed man in New York, which is to say a lot. Yeah. And his style is impeccable. So it's one thing to buy clothes; it's another thing to wear clothes.
Yes.
And then it's a totally different thing to wear them correctly.
Correct.
And he did all of those things.
Like even that blazer.
Yes. Oh, thank you. But I was gonna say,
many leather-bound books, Joe.
Many leather-bound books. But Merlin Olsen comes over, you know, often. Merlin Olsen. The other thing, though, I think that's interesting is that when they did the reboot, 29 years later, who better to play him than a competent, brazenly virile black man in Sam Jackson? And Sam was wearing like a $7,000 Armani coat in the opening scene at the Metropole. So when he hits Christian Bale, what this you know, and he hits him, right? Yeah. So I think the clothing truly defines the man in this one, but the man defines those clothes. And you instantly, this was released July 4th weekend in 71.
Okay.
It seems like a Christmas movie, right? It seems like a cold weather movie.
It does.
It was released July 4th weekend, 71. Before that, 4th of July weekend wasn't even a thing back then, but they released it and it did so well. They were just shocked how well it was doing, and how well it did and how well it was doing. But it proved they were bankable. So Unsung Hero, like I said, it's his clothes, because when he comes in, when he's confident and he's dressed well, you got to take him seriously.
Yeah.
You're going to open up to him. You got to take him seriously, or he's about that business, boss. Yeah. He's not playing around.
Yeah.
So, and then Vic, because we mentioned before, Vic is the thing keeping him out of jail. Vic is standing between him and
yes, he is.
Going to jail.
Literally.
But he knows if you give Shaft enough time, Shaft can figure this out, so we can save a lot of lives and save a lot of time. If we give him the time, I'm gonna keep him off your back. But I know you're gonna deliver. Boy has a lot about boy can back it up too.
That's right.
Gotta lean on that. You don't lean on that. But anyway,
I love it. I love it.
That's me. How about you?
So for me, my main one is Ben.
Okay.
You know, as the woke, so to speak, the Panther, you know what I mean? Like
drug dealer too.
And drug dealer too. Like, you know, I mean, hey, you know, I mean, those that know.
He says it. I mean, he says it. Like, Bumpy says it. Like,
yeah.
There are only murderers in this room. You know?
That's right.
Senator, we're all part of the same hypocrisy. You know?
But, you know, I mean, like, you know, he was to connect with you know, he got Shaft, the crew that allowed him to do what he needed to do. You know what I mean? He was not as smooth as Shaft.
The Lamumbas.
The Lamumbas. Hey, exactly. Shout out Patrice Lumumba and those guys. And you see this time and again, even in our man Spike's Bamboozle, you know what I mean? Like the crew, the Mau Mau's, you know, you always got you got that crew of ne'er-do-wells, you know what I mean? They're doing their thing or whatever. But he really was you know, he was instrumental in helping Shaft to infiltrate the Carter, wherever that was that they were infiltrating. You know, and just a good performance. Like, you know, here's the thing about the film, man. Like Moses Gunn as Bumpy, one of the moments, like when he's starting to cry in the office, like you almost want to turn it off at that point, man, because it's really, to me, it was really kind of bad acting.
Yes.
But Christopher St. John, on the other hand, I thought he turned in probably one of the better acting performances outside of Richard Roundtree. You know, another shout out to just the various women in the film, because, you know, they don't get any kind of credit whatsoever. Ellie, Marcy, you know, they don't tell you their names really. You know what I mean?
No, Marcy, Ellie, gosh,
Gina.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember who it was. But wait, which one is Marcy's?
Marcy was Jonas's daughter.
Okay, so wherever they stayed, like his friends, the friend when they put him up somewhere, and Ben was in. Say, you can sleep in the girls' room.
Yeah,
Ben. It's like, I say what I damn well please. Not in this house, you won't.
Not in this house.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
I'm black middle class. You only here because of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calm down. But they were strong in their own way. They just weren't. You know.
Absolutely.
They didn't have much of a role.
I mean, you know, that was the world.
That changed by the time of Shaft in Africa.
Oh yeah. By I mean, you know, and thank God for Pam Grier, for man, I'm blanking on Cleopatra Jones.
I can't think of her name, but I know who it is. But I can't think of her name.
Oh man, somebody's gonna kill me. Probably Reese.
It's all right. Stay on task.
But you know, the sisters, man. I mean, the women, because it won't just sisters, but the women. And then
there was that.
And then lastly, you know, and shout out to you, Joe, for giving me the little extra info on it. But Cafe Reggio, man.
Yeah, man.
Look, man, like, hey, so you know, Joe, I'll leave it to you, man. Tell the people about it, man.
No, I mean, we can go to the village. We can go see it. Like, we can go to Cafe Reggio like right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can go there today.
It's
No Name
crazy.
Bar, the No Name Bar, which is behind me, it's gone. It's now an Italian restaurant.
Okay.
But and I found this site and it had all these specific places, these shaft locations, and I mean I don't know how to well, I guess I can go to recently closed. But Lord have mercy, a lot of recently. We have open tabs here. We're serious about our open tabs.
Yeah.
But I'm still to say that so the No Name Bar, it's part of Manhattan, but Cafe Reggio is in the Village, and you can go to it today if you follow. There's a clothing company called J Press, and they did their fall catalog. All their fall clothes, their catalog was shot at Cafe Reggio, which doesn't look much. I mean, it's green, same awning, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you when you look at this, you think Dean Tavalera shot this movie, by the way, because it is so dark.
Yeah.
It is so amazingly dark and gritty. But he did not. Dean Tavaleris did not shoot this film. But anyway, having said all that, having said all that, Reggio is still a place. I remember the first time. So I was visiting. I was with my friend John Cox, a friend of the show, John Cox, and we were visiting New York. We went up to see a show, and the night before we got in the night before, and we hung out with our friends at NYU Law, which was Jared Loholt, Benny Walk, and Jason Spears, and we were in the Village, and we went to this bar, and I walked out of the bar, and I looked up. It's Cafe Reggio, and I'm like, I just had like a moment in the street. No one understood what I was talking about. They're down there all the time. They didn't know. And Jared's probably one of the most soulful, like into like black,
he's
70s
down.
stuff. Like they're
very
much down.
South Carolina down.
But yes, but he didn't understand quite what I was saying at the time. And I was like, no. I said, this is from Shaft, brother. Like this is where he went when he went out and had to do whatever. Boom, boom, boom. But to be able to go in and sit at the booth where Shaft sat, where Roundtree sat, that's kind of amazing to me. So I mean, this is a very New York film, and some of the interiors, like I said, were rinky dink, but some of them were very real. So I wanted to say something about this interior behind me, about the No Name Bar.
Go for it.
The proprietor of the No Name Bar, the bartender, was openly gay in the film.
Yeah. Right.
He was Shaft's friend.
Yes.
He was openly gay. It was no big deal. They literally normalized the relationship. Every relationship Shaft had was in some way, shape, or form normalized. He sees the hippie on the street, right? He gives him the key, say, hey, go turn the lights on in my place. There's a level of trust there. He's friends with the hippie on the street. This is his neighborhood. He's friends with the hippie on the street. He's friends with the this is his bar that he goes to hang out. Yeah. Which is not a black bar. Right. I had to go back and find out if there were black people even in the bar other than Shaft. But these people know it's his bar because they're there. Yeah. Yeah. Houses across the street. Then he has a relationship, a friendship with the guy who runs the bar, which they totally normalized. They didn't make it camp. There was a little joke there, but it was a joke someone else said, but it wasn't camp or anything like that. Yeah. Not too camp. And it was quick, but it was like, okay, we're going to be sophisticated. As it should be. We're going to tell you, we're going to be in New York. Yeah. Because this is a slice of New York. This is a slice of New York. In 1971, mind you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 2 years after Stonewall riots, in 1971, mind you. So I thought that was significant as well. And I read it on one of the I thought it was significant after I read it on one of the pages I read when I was reading up about today. But nonetheless, I thought that the use of those specific places, wherever they were walking all over the village, is like real popular stuff. Like, so when he leaves Reggio's, there's supposedly there were some major landmarks he was walking by. There's something called Minetta Street. It's like a major thing. And so there was a hotel on Minetta, and it was just like the Apollo, It's not a Gordon Parks is a photographer. That's not a right there. It's not. It's not a. It's not. Oh, it's a coincidence. No, you're on the hunt for
No,
history.
everything's intentional. Everything's intentional.
Absolutely.
If it's in the
And
frame,
so,
it's intentional.
yes, it's in the game. It's in the game. On purpose. For
I
real.
hear EA Sports.
Yeah. So yeah. So I love the intentionality of the film as well, particularly from a visual standpoint. I love
that reminds me, like there were, I mean, like it was almost like Gordon Parks was showing off in the beginning. Like there's this one take that he has where it's like he has it framed between like I guess two trash cans or something. I can't tell what exactly is between.
And he's shooting up, and you see him up through the thing. Yeah.
Intentional, and you can tell it's to try to give you the sense that you're kind of spying and listening in on what they have to say. You know what I mean?
I think the cinematography in this film is extremely underrated. No, I've never really heard anybody talk about cinematography in Shaft, which is a travesty given the fact that one of the greatest photographers who ever lived directed it.
Right.
So his eye. So
yeah.
If anybody has an eye, it's this man who has this eye.
Exactly.
But even the picture behind you, I mean, if that's not a heroic, portrait, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
I mean, any photographer today is seeking that to make someone look like that.
Right.
To make you look that larger than life, and to have all these things jutting out from you, having to work around. The city is having
to put you in the center of it.
Yeah, the city has to work around you.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's quite obvious, intentional, and spot on.
Yeah, the angles, like the arms, everything. Like, I mean, it's not accidental. You pay attention to it.
No, I don't know how tall he is. He might be very tall, but he looks like he towers.
He's a giant in the movie, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's that, and he's a kingmaker in the film. He's a hero maker in the film. You know what I mean? When I went to New York for the first time, and I saw the Apollo Theater, I wanted to recreate basically this shot. And couldn't, you know what I mean? Like technically,
yeah, I hear you.
I hear you. I didn't have Joe with me.
It's all right, but if you look at the shot, if you look at it,
yeah,
and you see Brett Ratner did the exact same thing, and that the shot when the camera cut the Ken Burns thing, the shot. And I'm not saying Gordon invented it. I just say I know he perfected it.
Right. Exactly.
But Ratner did it in the Bad Boys.
Yeah.
There's always that shot where that slow motion, and the camera comes across their face slowly, or body of face slowly in a perfect spot, and all that comes from Shaft. I feel.
No, you're right. Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does, man. So, we have a category that we shelve sometimes, but I think it's really, I mean, this film here, as far as genre defining, is it, man. Yeah, this is the genre right here.
It's the highest level. It's the highest level. It's the best film of the entire genre.
Yeah.
And there were like 500,000. There are 1,000 films in the genre. Yeah. And it's the best one.
Yeah. All due respect to Melvin Van Peebles and Sweetback, you know what I mean? All due respect to
it's crude in compared to Dolomite.
Dolomite, Coffee, Truck Turner,
Sheba Baby,
Black Mama, White Mama.
Oh yeah, Black Mama, White Mama, Angie.
All due respect to and really like Gordon Parks ran so our man Quentin Tarantino could run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's far reaching. It's the influence. Rob Zombie. If you watch the Rob Zombie films, I don't know how big you are. You're not a horror dude, so like.
No, but I'm familiar. But I'm familiar with what you're talking about, though.
Like his films are heavily influenced by this era, and specifically like Shaft and Gordon Parks, and like the cinematography and the way that it is filmed. So I think that this film really, it doesn't get its due in terms of where it stands historically. Oscar-winning soundtrack.
Yep.
Richard Roundtree got an award for the best newcomer. They retired that award for Ben King after Ben King Gandhi. But the Golden Globe for the best Hollywood newcomer. and you know, the critics were not very friendly to the film in the time, but I think, you know, the truth is the proof's in the pudding, man. This film
And
holds
it made money.
up,
And it made money. It
and
made
it
money,
made money
man.
on top of everything.
Which opened the door for everybody else. So
Yeah.
the adjusted for inflation, the adjusted revenue supposedly was $90 million of the film. So it made 90 million. It probably was made on a million, and it made 90. So I don't know what I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. That's that. I mean, you make the money back 90 times. So it was the highest grossing black film until black film directed by a black film directed by a black director, highest grossing until Black Panther.
Wow.
Yeah. So you think
you know, I think Malcolm X probably, you know, if they had shunted them funds to Dennis the Menace, my ticket said Dennis the Menace. I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, that was clearly done. Also, Inside Man did really well.
Yeah, it did numbers.
Inside Man did really well, but it was a Disney. It was it was Touchstone. It was a Disney film, but it did really well. But still, supposedly, if you look at the numbers, it was Shaft, and then it was Black Panther.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yes,
that's incredible. Can we talk about the music, Joe?
Go ahead,
man, brother. Like, so again, it's something else groundbreaking because, like, you know, the movies of the later period now, you know, like these romantic comedies that we love, you know, or even the action movies like Bad Boys and things like that. Soundtrack is always the thing for us in the community, right? This is this is the originator of that. You know, this soundtrack was mind blowing. To your point earlier, like, you know, brothers listening to it, you know, it's sampled, digging in the crates, want to find, you know, a good Isaac Hayes sample. This joint is for real. It's a monster. Isaac Hayes, I guess, wanted to be in the film. He wanted to be he wanted to play Shaft, and the only way he would have done it, only way he could get it was if he had agreed to do the soundtrack, allegedly. And then, you know, after they gave it Richard Roundtree, he was like, okay, well, I'll still do it. The Barkays as the backup, like, just incredible, man. And so, you know, the Oscar winning theme, we can't disparage or cast aspersions on that. Sure. Okay. Not the best song on the soundtrack. We
no, but it's probably the best original song that told you what the film was about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Much like Hard Out Here for a Pimp. Whoop That Trick is probably a better song than Hard Out Here for a Pimp.
Right.
But I mean, I think it is. But
I agree.
But
go hard. Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, but Hard Out Here for a Pimp won.
Right. Because it told the story of the film.
Told the story of the film, much like Shaft did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's a complicated man. You got the likes of Thomas Houck, you know, quoting Shaft and riding around the streets of Baltimore, harassing young kids.
Thomas Houck, Lord have mercy. You got me on that now. Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. Anybody that's not following me on Instagram, Killer Cal D, I've finished my rewatch of The Wire, but I put together all the pieces matter. That's the theme I was going for. Way down in the hole. Hey, so Joe, so I feel like I already know what your favorite song is.
Yeah, I told you. But it's Soulsville. It's Soulsville. And I'm gonna Black man born free. At least that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
The chains that bind him are hard to see unless you take this walk with me. The place where he lives, God, he gives them the names. The hood, the projects, the ghetto, they are one and the same. And I call it Soulsville. Beautiful. I mean, any kind of job is hard to find. That means an increase in the welfare line. The crime rate is rising too. If you're hungry, what would you do? The rent is 2 months past due in a building that's falling apart. The little boy needs a new pair of shoes, and this is only a part of Soulsville. So he's not going to call it the ghetto, the projects, the hood. He's calling it Soulsville.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of the brothers got plenty of cash, tricks on the corners. gonna see to that. How's this not the best original song?
No,
Some like to smoke, and some like to blow. Some are even strung out on a $50 Jones. It's probably too real. Trying to ditch reality, but getting so high, only to find out you can never reach the sky because your roots are in Soulsville.
mm-hmm. Incredible. And so
I'm not gonna read the last. I'm not gonna read the last one, but that's just my favorite. That's my favorite.
I agree with
and
you.
he's walking around the city in that.
It is the best song on the soundtrack by a fair margin. I do want to give a shout out to Do Your Thing because
Do your thing, brother. Come on with it.
Ooh, hey,
all 32 minutes. How long is Do Your Thing? Is it 27 minutes or 17 minutes?
It's 19 minutes. 19 minutes of pure unadulterated funk and soul. Like
that
pure.
That is the funkiest, stay soft roll smelling.
Like Tops barbecue. Like not the Sharpstown Mall. What's that mall? Wolf Chase Galleria.
There you go. Good.
It's like,
bring it up,
Joe. So this is 2 malls in the country that only have up escalators. They don't have down escalators. Only up escalators. This is the Sharpstown Mall in Houston and Wolf Chase Galleria in Memphis.
Hey, let me tell you something about the Sharpstown Mall. They were closing the Macy's there because of shrinkage. They were closing the Macy's there. Shrinkage, yeah. And I got 4 Ralph Lauren ties for 25 cents. I got $90 ties for 25 cents. They were giving 25 cents. They were giving the stuff away at the
Bob's was selling newspapers for 25 cents, man.
Sharpstown Mall. Much love. Much love to Houston, Texas, and much love to Sharpstown.
Shout out to the King and King Malachi Simmons.
Yes, who lives very far away from. She lives very far from the Sharpstown Mall. But you know, it is a soul. It is the soul experience.
Yeah. Dave Neely took us there to get Hirachis. Shout out to Dave Neely.
There you go. They're gonna have some. You're gonna have some shoes over there.
Absolutely.
Any of those.
If nothing else, you're gonna get some shoes. But yeah, man. The soundtrack, like again, guys, if you've never, I find it hard to believe anybody would be listening to this at this point that hasn't heard most of the soundtrack.
And shame on you as a man or a woman if that's the case, because it's a cultural phenomenon. I mean, it is. I think he was the first. Yeah, I think he was the first Black person to win Best Original Song, and I believe for the theme from Shaft.
Yeah, I believe so too.
So that's an Oscar-winning song. I know, like, oh yeah, that's funny. I know it. No, that's an Oscar-winning song.
Full stop.
I'm talking about that. We can dig it. That won an Oscar.
So Joe, background singers. The background singers. What you know about them?
I didn't look anything up on it.
Thelma Hopkins, man. My girl. Thelma Hopkins of Tony Orlando and Dawn, or if you are of a certain age.
Hey, of everything.
Rachel.
Thelma Hopkins. No. I'm gonna take it back. It's a Living. I'm gonna bring you back. I'm gonna bring you back to It's a Living.
Yeah, and give me a break. Hey.
Or we can even go even further because she and Richard Roundtree are on Family Reunion on Netflix.
Wow.
See, she plays Loretta Devine's sister.
You always win. Joe,
no, I'm just saying Thelma Hopkins is the ageless wonder. She's truly the ageless wonder.
Truly the ageless wonder, man. Look, man.
Much like Penny Johnson on who used to be on the Larry Sanders Show, and the wife on 24.
What's her name?
Penny Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, enjoy. Yeah, I'm in the middle of a binge on that show. It's just so sad. Larry was the worst, the absolute worst. But anyway, back to the music.
Man, I looked at this Thelma Hopkins picture in 2008. She's 73 years old, brother.
Watch her. She's on Family Reunion. Sage watches it all the time.
Okay, all right. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Still working. I love that though that she's on that, but she's definitely on It's a Living. She was the Black girl who worked at the restaurant on It's a Living. So I'm a big Soulsville guy, but Do Your Thing is amazing. Yeah. And No Name Bar. I mean, they're all Cafe Reggio's, No Name Bar. They're just all amazing. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
It sets the mood.
So much for everything.
Yeah, man. It sets the mood.
Let the mood set the moment on.
You know,
Yes.
Joe, have you ever seen Black Dynamite?
No, I have not. I'm not a big Michael Jai White.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's all you really need to, I mean, I get
We
it.
got into it. We got into it once at a parking garage, and I'm just not. I'm not.
I'm glad that didn't become physical, brother.
I was in the car.
Okay,
It would have
okay,
been.
okay.
It would have been to his detriment.
Fair enough. Fair enough, man. Yeah.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, and I'm sure he's an extremely nice person. I'm just saying he was not moving, thinking that thinking that because he was Michael Jai White, he didn't have to move. He's not Paulie. He's not Paulie. Paulie's the only one who doesn't have to move for anybody. You gotta move. No, but
when you're told. Oh no, Big Polly, and Goodfellas. Yeah.
Big Paulie.
Yeah. I almost missed that one, Joe. I almost missed that one.
Right.
That
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
I missed a lot.
Tiddy's brother. Paul Cicero.
Oh, Tiddy.
Yeah. Paul Cicero.
You're a real asshole, Henry. You know that?
You're a real asshole. You're 6 towels on this guy.
Oh man, Joe. All right, so like, I mean, we've already established this is the best blaxploitation film, like clearly. Yep. Like, I'm trying to think where else to rank it or what else to really say other than
it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite. If it's on, it's definitely on that list. Like, I don't care what part of the film, we're in.
Yeah,
I'm there. I want to talk about Ellie for a minute, though.
Please do.
Yeah,
I'm all for the sisters. Come on.
so they've miscast her apartment as Shaft's apartment, and so her place was. Oh, I have the filming locations. Hello, Joseph. The No Name Bar was on Hudson Street in Greenwich Village, of course.
Okay.
And so because he lived across the street, but then they say John Shaft's apartment was on Jane Street. Now, unless those streets are across from each other, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Really, that's where Ellie's place was.
Okay.
Ellie, if you notice, Ellie walked in and she had a key. He's at her house. He's at her house.
He's waiting in her house,
with the
like lounged up. Yeah.
They're in a tub.
So was Shaft a homosexual?
A what?
You know that term, homosexual? Like a dude?
No. No, he had a place. He had his own place. Okay. It was a different place. But the internet, because they're lazy, they keep saying that Ellie's place is Shaft's place in the village, but it's not. It's not. And I'm not saying they don't live close to each other, but that was not his place. So just across Hudson Street stood the No Name Bar. Okay, sorry. Wait, maybe it is. Excuse me, maybe that is his place. Could be completely wrong. The 70s blaxploitation genre started here in 3 months. The office of John Shaft was on Times Square. So his office was in Times Square. And his apartment was in the West Village at 55 Jane Street, they keep saying. Just across Hudson Street stood the No Name Bar, where Shaft turns the tables on a stakeout. So maybe those things are close, and maybe I'm completely wrong. And I've got no problem being that. But the places where they use some on McDougal Street. It says Cafe Reggio is seen in the dull 1976 thriller The Next Man, and in Next Stop, Greenwich Village. The girlfriend of Frank Serpico works in Reggio, in City Lumet Serpico. Though it's not seen in the film, it's often listed as a location for The Godfather Part 2. Okay. But and according to this person, he has not seen it anywhere in the film. And the Coens used it for Inside Lou Allen Davis. Okay. But I had another site that had like a much deeper, it had like 13 different spots. But I something happened to this site, so I'm not gonna say. But I'm saying all this to say, though, that this is very authentic. It's one of my favorite New York movies, which is saying a lot.
It is saying
one of my top 10.
You are a Woody Allen guy.
I am not anymore, but the things that are already in the can, that are in the can, they're in the can. Yeah. Anything new, I'm not.
We've established that. We did a Bill Cosby film, so
we did, and I've been watching that. Like Debbie Kamau Bell. Oh God, that's done. Like that's done for real. That's over with. That's over with. So, as painful but necessary to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's one of my favorite New York films. It's on the list. It's the top blaxploitation film, best in class. It's a top well, genre. It defines the genre, and it defines the genre. One of the best soundtracks I think ever, and it might really only be 6 songs. I gotta look
like
to see the
6 songs, and then like it's like some themes. But yeah,
yeah.
like
But I mean, yeah, okay, so maybe it's 10. But I still think I think it's still one of the strongest soundtracks like ever made.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I mean, some of the songs are like 20 minutes long. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, okay, bro. But you can just put it on and do what you gotta do with that.
Let it ride.
A horn
Yeah,
section.
man. So for me, like the action genre, I mean, like the action pieces, the shaft jumping through the window, like,
Right.
it's up there for soundtrack, as you mentioned. Just overall, like, just like, the black male characters, so much of that archetype is
Talk
Shaq.
about it.
One of the best black male characters ever. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to the editor. I think you had made mention of this earlier, Joe.
Yeah, please talk about it, please.
Hugh Robertson, the editor, did 3 films essentially. Won the Oscar for best editing for Midnight Cowboy. I see you there. The Midnight Cowboy best director or best editor, and was the first African American to be nominated in the editing category. And edited Shaft, and the rest is history. But yeah, man, this film, man, this is a great way to start our Black History Month off. I strongly encourage anybody that has not. I don't know why you wouldn't have seen Shaft. I guess we can talk about here the sequels and the reboots and remakes and all these kind of things. And
there was a television show. There was a Shaft television show, short-lived. Yes. There's Shaft's Big Score, and then there is Shaft in Africa, and I watched that, which is a spaghetti western. That I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah. Leo DiCaprio when he went over to Italy.
It's definitely. They say it was shot in New York. None of that movie was shot. I posit that none of that film was shot in New York. Yeah. Shaft in Africa was in Europe and in Paris specifically, and I think Spain too. And then of course in Addis Ababa, and Eritrea, Addis Ababa and Eritrea, which you'd think was pretty expensive. I don't, and as I'm watching that film, if you ever see Shaft in Africa, as I'm watching that film, I'm like, what is the objective here? It's all for $25,000, which I looked up what the equivalent. It's like 400. It's like $500,000, about almost $500,000 now. So theoretically, it's not a bad move.
Yeah,
it's not a bad move. But he almost gets killed 30 times.
In
the film.
Yeah,
they're constantly trying to kill him, and
life in danger.
I mean, constantly. And at some point, he's like, "Man, I'm just a private eye. Like, what am I doing?" He becomes an action hero in Shaft in Africa. Truly, I guess he was when he flew through that window. I guess the word will get out that Shaft will go to whatever lengths to save, to do what he's got to do to save you.
Yeah, for sure. Because
I think he made 30. I think Bumpy paid him 30 grand or 50 grand or something like that. I know he paid Ben 60.
Because he paid 10 each to Ben's men who died.
Yeah, so it was 60, and 60 or 90 or something like that. And I think Shaft was like, I'm worth half of that or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think he got 30. So if you do the inflator, you can see like what that would be in today's. And I had it, but
it's a pretty penny. It's a pretty.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Yeah, we're gonna jump through. We're gonna jump through the window, and it paid for expenses. Bumpy was paying expenses and cabs.
Yeah,
I forgot. In this past viewing, this is the reminder. I forgot that he walks out. Everybody else gets back up to uptown. He just walks out and calls Vic. Which clearly it wasn't Vic on the other. I think it was Gordon Parks playing Vic. It was not Vic. Vic's voice at all. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So the Sam Jackson reboot,
Mhm.
big fan. Really enjoy
Me too. Oh, huge. Yeah. I saw that at the Magic Johnson on a
no
triple date.
colors, no
Yeah,
sign.
on a triple date. Summer 2000.
The old Magic Johnson. Hey man, look, my man Jeffrey Wright. I
Yeah.
just people's yeah, man. Get my brother. He was great, man. People's Hernandez, one of the greatest, I mean, just little throwaway roles. I mean, Jeffrey Wright he's another one that doesn't get his due. The most recent Shaft is actually not
Oh,
so bad.
no, it's good. It's good. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah. Brought
I
back
liked
my
it. It was
man
very entertaining.
Yeah.
Can't really watch it with my kid around,
Yeah,
but
no,
very
not by
very
any
entertaining.
means.
No, very entertaining.
Yeah, yeah, man. But yeah, just in general, I mean, great franchise. Glad to have it. Going Fresh Prince, the wedding to the Shaft theme song. You know what I mean? Like it's you know, just incredible, man. Legacy, all that good stuff. So we're starting Black History Month off with a bang. I'm gonna give a shout out real quick to a black owned guidance whiskey I'm drinking on tonight. I don't know.
Okay.
Guidance
Nice. Yeah, we see it. Okay.
out of TSU grad Jason Rogel.
Okay. Nice.
This is from batch one. I'm finishing this bottle from batch one, American
Oh
Craftsmanship
man,
guidance
that's
whiskey.
special.
I'm gonna try to do that. Have something black. Be black. Next week we're gonna have a guest. I mean, I confirmed it today. DC is ready.
Okay.
Doing Moonlight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Moonlight.
We're doing Moonlight next week.
Oscar award winning film, Moonlight. So get ready for that.
Best picture.
Best picture. Not La La Land.
No.
Moonlight.
Won 2 Oscars, I believe. Or Mahershala.
Yeah. Mahershala, and then it did Barry win for did Barry Jenkins win for director?
No, the director was
Damien Chazelle won for director for La La Land,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, he won. Yeah. But he was really cool. The next day, he let Barry be on the cover of the Hollywood Reporter or Variety.
I take back my retroactive.
They took the picture. They took the picture together. If you look back at it, they're both in the shot, and really, that's really only reserved for the person who wins Best Director.
Okay.
I think they threw that out. They threw that out when Spike won.
Okay.
Finally, they didn't do that when Spike won, but they let Spike be the cover.
Okay.
Because it was
okay.
Yeah.
But that's the.
Yeah. Oh, Spike hadn't won Best Director. He
won for the writer, right? Yeah.
There's only when one black man won for Best Director, Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
for 13 years a slave.
Anything else, Joe? Anything?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
So, guys, until next week, man. Really, pump us up. Tell some people we're on YouTube. We're on Spotify.
Please YouTube, because we got these great backgrounds.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we work hard for these guys. I mean, I had 3 backgrounds tonight, y'all. 3 of them.
Yeah, it's a big deal. That's a big deal for you. It's a big deal for you.
It's a huge deal for the killer. Man, look, YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, wherever you like to hear your podcast, wherever, we appreciate you guys that listen to us on 1.5 speed. Although lately you hadn't had, you really don't have need to do that. You know what I mean? We listen
cool.
We heard you guys, cool. You know what I mean? And so,
trying to be succinct.
Yeah, man. So, but tell somebody, you know what I mean? We appreciate all our longtime listeners. You know what I mean? I hear you. I see the likes. You know what I mean? Reese giving us the valuable feedback. Ray.
Absolutely.
Amanda. Cachet. You know what I'm saying? I said Cachet after Reese. So you heard me say. I love it, man. I love it. I like when y'all, I'm like Kevin Malone, man. I like when y'all fight over it. Yeah, man. So we really do appreciate you guys. We're gonna keep it 100, and we out, man. Till next time. Peace.